Hello everyone. For today's video, I will be talking about Arcane Season 1, Episode 6, when the walls start crumbling down. Sorry, my speech impediment. This episode is heart-wrenching, action-packed, and brings forward violence beyond repair from the near future as the show goes on in a way. And goes in depth between certain characters. But before I go into that, first I want to say thank you to the people who support this channel. Without all of you, I wouldn't be here in the first place. So I want to say thank you to my subscribers, viewers, and so many more. Without all of you, I wouldn't be here. And please hit the notification bell down below so you can see my videos when you're notified ASAP. Comment down below, share, like the video, all the good stuff. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to Arcane Season 1, Episode 6. So, how this starts is kind of goes in depth into Victor's character. We go into his past, and he has this problem with the cane and everything, and it goes into more detail when he gets older, of course. And he meets this entrepreneur in a way, slash scientist, that made this creature. This creature was unique and beautiful in its own way. And we see those two together later on in the episode, and that entrepreneur slash scientist has that same creature, and Victor understands the lesson he tried to teach him as a boy. As a man in a way, now he understands the lesson. As Victor's prognosis gets back, it's dire and he's gonna die in a way. And Jace is distraught and worried and everything. Before seeing Victor, he sees his new girlfriend slash lover, from the council, and explains on how he feels about it and what he found out about it in the process. For him as a character, kind of grew in depth in this episode as well, because those two kind of grew up together in a way, as brothers. And when Hypendinger saw the Arcane become more grotesque in a way, he told him to destroy it. And once those two protested and everything, Hypendinger was pissed off and wasn't happy. And this episode is more emotional because Vi and Powder, aka as Jinx, kind of reunite in this episode, and uses a torch that was given towards a kid by Vi and uses it, and they get reunited. But before that, Silka was pissed that Vi pops back up and with Caitlyn, the rogue enforcer, and Silka shows up at the house at the sergeant's house, playing with the daughter, and threatens him in a way. If order's not brought back, he's gonna do the same thing and basically take away his kid. So we kind of had enough of his control and everything. Jace and him kind of finally get along and do something to protect the city. I'm not going to say what because it's going to ruin the whole thing. And basically, shortly after that, and kind of put aside their differences, the council does something unanimous, and Jace kind of drops a bombshell. He shows respect to Hypendinger for being the forefather to science and being a founder to the city. shortly after that, he basically explains all this is happening under his watch and nothing's being done. Speeches won't cut it, and he announces and Jace announces his retirement, and the council thinks about it for a minute, and once they do think about it, they all agree unanimously. So he's forced into retirement in a way, so he's not on the council anymore, nothing like that. He's done. And Jace just kind of takes control of the reins of the city from here on out. And when that happens, the upper side and downside go into downward spiral in their own way. And the way this episode ends is in a cliffhanger. They reunite and everything. Powder, aka Jinx, and Vine. And when Caitlyn shows up, she gets pissed off and says all these things. And they put aside the differences for a little bit until their enemy, and eventually until they become their ally, and they have one common enemy. And how this episode ends is pretty cool and unique in its own way. They basically take the orb that Jace kind of produced and everything, and they kidnap Vi. And how to say this? Jinx basically calls out Seko on his bullshit in her own way. If you've seen this episode, you know what I'm talking about. She points it out right then and there. If you haven't seen the episode, I would highly recommend it. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, but you like what I'm saying. Other than that, this episode gets 10 out of 10. And in each episode, it kind of shows a dead friend from the childhood. Again, Powder isn't well in the series, in the first season. She's all fucked up in a way, mentally. And she sees the two friends that were killed and lose her shit when Vi's right in front of her and everything. Their reunion was emotional, and both of them and Vi explained what happened. Shortly after that, Caitlyn ruined it. She didn't know what was going on. Frankly, I don't blame her, since Jinx is seen as a criminal on the Upper East Side, and that leads to the cliffhanger when they fight the enemy that Silco hates and everything. And they basically kidnap Vi, and Powder just is in distraught and surprised. And that's where it ends. The way I see this episode is going to get more action-packed and more crazy. And that's a good thing. If they didn't do any of this, I wouldn't be interested in the show at all. But they're doing this pathway for this show, and I'm glad they did it this way. For the people who haven't seen the show, I would highly recommend it because it's action-packed, original, and shows surprises and sucker punches you emotionally every chance it gets. Other people might think differently, but that's what I think about it. Other than that, I have nothing more to say. This show is 10 out of 10. Each episode is a banger. These episodes are not a miss. And these episodes teaches you life lessons in the process. If you think about it. They tell you little by little in their own way. I want to say thank you to the people who support this channel. I won't be here without all of you. My channel is at History Buff 2.0. You can't miss it. Please hit the notification bell notification bell down below so you can see my videos first when you get notified. Comment down below, share, like. And if you have friends that like these type of videos I'm doing, movies or shows that I'll be doing down the line with Arcane in the mix, or the viewer yourself like what I'm doing, please subscribe because it's going to go a long way and help me do a lot more down the road. Other than that, may God bless you all. Stay safe, and I will see you on the next one.